Good morning. Hello to everyone. A whopping 17 people. Oh yeah, you got to get yourself some Behold. I couldn't imagine going to the grocery store without grabbing a bottle of Behold. I mean, that's not so true anymore. When I'm middle of a bike season and we're tuning up a million bikes, it's like, yep, we're buying a lot of Behold. Can you hear me? Yep, okay. Missed last week. I don't remember why. I think I just didn't really feel like it. Something like that. We're trickling in, get going. I don't really have a whole lot to talk about this week. I'm going to have to follow your lead. You guys got to let me know in the comments what you want to talk about or hear about. I can, let's see here. This will be the bike I drop tomorrow. Look at the size of this sucker. That's tomorrow's video. I got to edit the whole thing this afternoon. But yeah, big old, look at that. These Trek 820s from this era. Wow, pretty nice bike. It's American made Trek, TIG welded chrome ollie frame. And then they made the 820s in these extra large sizes. And I ordered some heavy duty wheels and used that SRAM Apex drivetrain that I was talking about in the last video. Put that on this and it's perfect. It's just perfect. It really turned out well. I love it when bikes turn out this great. I do not lack vision, as some people would say. Yeah, and then so I've kind of, I don't know why, thank God I've lost interest in the comment section on these videos because it used to like really rent space in my brain. No, take up space, live in my brain rent free, live in my mind for rent free. Anyway, you guys used to bug me a lot. And I don't know what it is, but I just like don't really care about the comments anymore. And also, I think it's like a case of AI making me lazy because there's a summary button now and you can just summarize it. And I saw that occasionally people were mentioning from my last video that the SRAM Apex 11 speed group set fits on 8, 9, and 10 speed free hubs. And that I believe might make. Yeah. So here's the shifter that I took off the bike. And if you can see, maybe it's a 7-speed. Yeah, right there. 7-speed shifter. So the wheel that I took off this bike was a 7-speed wheel. And that definitely is a smaller free hub body than 8, 9, and 10 speed. And I'm guessing that I had it all wrong. And everything that I discussed in this video while I was doing this was wrong. That in fact, I do have an 8, 9, 10 speed. And in fact, I could have used this right on the Excalibur and I don't need an 11-speed wheel. And I just didn't know that. I just didn't know. I never Googled it, never bothered to ask. And so here I am correcting it in my live stream, but I'll also correct it in my notes as I'm editing today. Because I think it's important to know such things. And then also, while I was trying to figure this out, I'm like, okay, well, I still want to do a 1x conversion on this old Trek Excalibur just because I have it here. So I ordered a Q's group set, 11 speed for that bike. And now I'm thinking I could have probably ordered cheapo Apex stuff, maybe cheaper, and it would have worked too. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I think the Q's stuff is amazing. So that'll be a video that is additional to the one I dropped on Tuesday, which was kind of a fun little video to make. It was good to go through all those things. And I'm just wondering if I actually did hit send on those orders from Velocity and Rivendell for the parts for all those builds. But I have one other bike here that I'm looking at that will be for next week's video. And then hopefully I'll have all the parts and I can do one of those big builds for Saturday. And then I I got to figure some stuff out. I'm not going to be able to make videos for a while. So I'll have to get ahead of the game. Soon we'll all be cyclists. Swansea, Wales, UK. Hello, UK. Salutes. We got 69 people on the chat. What's going on out there? Antwerp, Belgium. I was talking about Belgium in a video recently. Swansea. Well, then you should spell it that way. If that's how you pronounce it, you should spell it that way. Just saying. You know, I think it's time you Brits learn how to speak and spell English from us Americans. Isn't that how the world works now? Is there a metric for how BikeFarmer-ish a bike? Well, upright handlebars, comfy seat, platform pedals. I don't know. Swansea. It's pronounced Swansea. He's got a mouthful of cookies. Bar mitts or gloves for winter cycling? Both, I think is the answer. Bar mitts are great. If I commuted every day, I would definitely be using bar mitts and thin gloves. If it's cold, like it has been around here, if it's like, 40 degrees and I go for a bike ride, I don't usually ride that long, half hour to an hour. And usually just some regular winter gloves will work. But I have done long, like 200 Ks in the winter where you're out on the bike all day. And then it definitely helps to have bar mitts and things, thin gloves. And I always bring an extra pair because your hands get sweaty and so on and so forth. So what's for lunch? It's a good question. Tacos is a good answer. So I didn't put a dork disc on this one behind me here. I don't know. There's something about big cog energy with dork discs. The small cog energy, that is dork disky to me. How's recreational cycling going in Wisconsin? I don't really understand that question, but great. I think recreational cycling is awesome in Wisconsin, except that we have winter here and it sucks. I'm sick of it. It was beautiful, 63 degrees and sunny on whatever day that was this week, Monday maybe. And now it's like 40 degrees and so windy, you can't even stand to be outside. Cheap bike build off. I have no idea what that is. Enlighten us. Yeah, so someone needs to invent a way to use wider tires on all these vintage, beautiful road bikes. The racing bikes have really tight clearances built into them, so there's not much you can do about it. The actual road bikes, as we'll find when I do that Raleigh International, a lot of them you can fit wider tires. I'm gonna try to put 35 millimeter tires with fenders on that old Raleigh. So like the bikes from the 70s, they weren't tightening everything up so much. From the 80s, it was all about getting everything as small and light as possible. So every year, some YouTuber challenges the community to spend no more than, I think, $150 to build a cheap bike. Huh. Interesting. Be interesting to know which YouTuber, and check that out. I always forget the name of the favorite bell. I like the vintage crane brass bells on, the Rivendell type builds. But then there is, God, I just can't remember the name of it now. Yeah, Bill Walton was a tall dude. Yeah, you can't use protection on your big cog. That's right. Spur cycle. That's exactly right. Nice soft ding. It's pleasant. Hello, Purehead Jump from San Francisco. I have not been approached by Walmart for their Ozark Trail stuff. Not sure we're a good fit. Ike the Mullet Mechanic is the originator of the cheap bicycle build off CBBO. Max the Mullet. Oh, I see. Max the Mullet Mechanic. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Somebody's got to get me going on something. Do I have an opinion on turning hardtails into rigid bikes? Okay. So, when you're dealing with bikes from the late 90s, mid to late 90s, right? Into the through the 2000s up until 2015, maybe 2010, 2012 ish, right? When you still have kind of the old normal mountain bike geometry before everything got all slack and super racy. And like it was very specific. This is a mountain bike to be ridden in through the woods on the trails. I mean, I guess they always kind of were, but you know what I'm saying? Like before, it was like this bike will only have suspension on it forever. So a lot of the bikes that I touch and are donated and free and cheap and easy, I think it only makes sense to make them rigid. I don't like all of the old forks. So this one behind me, can you see? No, you can't. Let's see if you do this. So this has the RockShox Indy S on it, which is a nice beefy, I had to make the call on this bike, right? Like it's a nice beefy, um, super low maintenance, tough, no nonsense kind of fork. And the bike rides great with it on there. Just leave it. That's kind of my take there. If you want to replace the fork, the problem is there aren't very many good options out there. I have Carver forks on a number of my bikes. They are now $130 retail. And I don't, I haven't heard back from them. I think I asked again this week if he wanted to like cut me a deal or something because I would put those forks on every single one of these things I do. I'd just make it rigid and throw the shitty old suspension forks away, convert them to threadless, whatever. I just think it makes a much better bike and perfect for an all-arounder, bomb around town ATV kind of thing. So that's Carver. The other ones that I know of are from Soma Fab, which is the Mary Sales catalog. And they are willing to work with me and kind of promote that idea. So it's a really good question because I do believe the best thing to do for most of these bikes is turn a hardtail into rigid. That said, if you just have like an entry level mountain bike that was designed to be a mountain bike, like if it's modernish, you're screwed. You're always should put a suspension fork on it. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like I think you can get cheap suspension forks for the same or cheaper than you can get a chromoly rim brake, fork. I don't know what G2 geometry is. I'd have to Google that. Sounds like it needs a suspension fork. Um, was the original SRAM grip shift designed to feel like a motorcycle throttle, or were the guys in R&D just twisted? I don't know. I think it's a novel design. I don't have any problem with grip shift. I think for most people, it's very cerebral and people like it. I think the high end, like back in the day, the high end all the way down. Um, yeah, and they're super cheap. Uh-oh. Connection is unstable. Sorry, I glitched up. Glitched out a little bit. Well, like I said, we got a lot of wind. People were saying there was power outages and stuff this morning. People were saying half of their house was out, but the other half was on, and none of the breakers were tripped. Sounds like a brownout situation, which I always remember hearing brownouts are the most dangerousness. Speaking of electricity, let's talk about all of the dumb things I have going on in my life right now instead of making bike videos. This whole not opening up the bike shop thing, I think has affected me psychologically. Um, just making the decision has really sent me into not a downward spiral, like a tailspin, but not a tailspin. I don't feel like I'm spinning out of control, knocked me off course, changed the paradigm, shifted my worldview, got me thinking more. But I feel like on a big picture, deep philosophical level, we're all born into this Western culture. I think 99% of us in the chat are Western culturers, European, American, Canadian, whatever you want to call it, right? And it's like we're born, and then as soon as we're like 4 years old, we're put into school. And school teaches us to follow the rules. We have to learn things and do what we're told, and then pass tests to get to the next level, to the next grade. And we're on a schedule with bells, and we just relinquish all of our agency in the world to the whims of our overlords, right? And it's all to make it so we are good employees. It's to turn us into workers, and we become the means of production, right? The working class is born from that. However, we have been trained, it's like indoctrinated, and it's ingrained in us to be subservient to the capitalist masters that make life comfortable for us. If we don't comply, if we don't conform, we don't get any of the benefits from all the structure that they create for us, and that security and so on and so forth. But the trade-off is we have no agency in our lives. Cut your hair, get a good job. It's never felt right to me from day one. Then again, it's never really been difficult for me either. So, it hasn't been a problem. It's fine, but I always followed the rules. I wasn't like a troublemaker. I didn't drop out. It's like I got good grades, I was never good at taking tests. So that's like the backstory. So here I am, an old guy now, 49 years old, and I've tried it all. And then I was like, I want to be self-employed, and I'm going to have a bike shop someday. And I did. And now I'm just making videos talking about all this stuff, which is interesting enough that it pays the bills. And so I don't need any of it. And I am like, actually, They have no work-life balance. Work is life. Right. Um, I mean, that's interesting. I could look, you know, into Japan, because I'm just fascinated by this because and I'm fascinated by it, as you all know, because of, this idea that artificial intelligence is gonna replace so many jobs, and so many people are gonna, like, all of a sudden be like, "Well, now what? What do I do?" Because they just cannot even imagine life without it, and I think that's kinda like this weird professional existential, like, identity crisis that I'm having right now is, like, all I have is this here, the audience or whatever. So, my personal philosophy is that if the mass unemployment becomes so great that it's, like, commonplace and people are gonna have to figure it out, then obviously we'll have to supplement the loss of the wage system driving the economy with universal basic income or whatever. But people are going to have to come up with things to bring meaning and purpose in their life, which is what I've been doing. And I have it. These videos, you guys, it's plenty of meaning and purpose. It's all I need to get out of bed and feel like I got to create something today or participate in the system. And it's fine. But the fact that it's not tied to this, global economy in a direct retail kind of way is really hard on me. So I recently have regained possession of my garage because I don't have to sell bikes out of it. So I've created shelves, moved everything onto the shelves, which gives me workspace. So I've been building out a workshop, like a woodworking shop, but metal's on the other side. So I've got that going on. I bought a bunch of tools and I want to learn woodworking. I'm gonna start by building shop furniture and build out the shop and just have a kick-ass shop and tool up and then maybe start making furniture and stuff. Why not? With all this free time that I have, which I don't have. That's the thing, is I just don't have it. Making the videos takes up a lot of time. I don't know why I think I have all this time all of a sudden. I don't. The problem with the bike shop is I always needed to have somebody running it so I could go do something that actually made money. Um, yeah. Tracking students for a vocation and teaching for the test is not necessarily okay. I mean, I think that we align or something there. Um, let's see here. Just kind of following up. Yeah, I was in the white collar world too, long before I realized that I completely hated it. Um, Somebody says they think that I would be a good teacher for bike repair at a community college. No, I wouldn't. I hate teaching. I am sure that, like you, are a little nervous for your son. My son is in college now. He has changed his degree from computer science, taken over by AI, to electrical engineering. Um, so people are continuing to show up at my house thinking that Gibbs is open. I'm looking at the sign right now. It says Gibbs permanently closed. Do not enter. Don't even try the knob, because that's what they do. Is they read it and they're like, permanently closed. Don't enter. They try the knob. Everybody does it. And then on the very bottom in small print, it says you don't even want to know what goes on inside this place. Or this is a private residence. You don't even want to know what goes on inside there. But yeah, no, I've been getting some tests. So talking to my insurance agent, and they think I should have liability insurance anyway. And the property insurance doesn't change. So I'm really not saving much at all on insurance. I think I can get the cost down a little bit, but not. So if I'm still carrying liability insurance and whatever, I just don't need workers' comp. I mean, there's some things I can save on. Um, but long story short is I think I still will do some bike work for money. Um, I just won't do it to the scale that I was before. So I don't know how it's actually going to work. And then I'm not nervous for my son. I think that the world will always need engineers. I think that I have never thought of college or education. I've never thought of education or college as a means to get a job or to establish a career or something like that. I think that people that do that, that only see it as a transactional thing, are missing out on what makes life truly beautiful and wonderful to live. And that's what education is for, is to make you a better person, not just to make you um, valuable in a capitalist sense. It's not about capital, it's about being human. I know that's like fluffy and whatever, but that's really what's most important to me in life, is not having money. These people that are just driven by collecting money, I've never related to that. It's the same thing. I think it's the same mechanism where I'm like, I don't like team sports. I don't like watching them. I don't like playing them. I don't really care about them. I don't identify with them. I don't understand why people would compete on that level. To me, it just doesn't. But I love bowling. I love golf. I love endurance cycling. Like anything that um, I can accomplish on an individual level and experience for myself, like really accomplish something and like nail it and be proud of for myself. That's what's important to me. So I think it's just like that, you know? So I'm fortifying, because I just think that like I have this really dystopian outlook that I don't even know is real. I may just have myself convinced of it. So I've got that going on out there. I'm still thinking of the Instead of Working channel, which all this is about, right? I haven't done a video over there in like 4 or 5 weeks. I want to sit down just like this and talk to the camera and talk about all this stuff for that channel. So I guess I'm kind of practicing on you guys. Um, but I am kind of getting there. The bike stuff, I'm really enjoying all these projects I have around, but I have to buy parts. I have to, it's like it's costing me money, more money than I thought. I don't know how this is going to work. It does seem like the last couple of days I've been getting more subs and maybe even turning the corner on the winter into spring, and BikeFarmer is going to be big enough to pay for it. Um, I don't know. But I don't know what I'm going to do. Like all of the things that I'm doing, and it's like I'm a lot of busy work and whatever. It's all costing me money and time, and I'm not getting anything back for it. I'm hoping that it all will, do this thing. Anyway, so all that's to say is I don't know how much I want to say, or even if I want to say it here, but the other day I had an idea for a book, for a novel. And I want to write it. And I've talked to my wife and all her fancy author friends, and they're all like, it's a really good idea. And I'm like, can I get a co-writer to help me write it? I'm like, I don't know if I know how to do that, but I've got a creative writing degree. I mean, I kind of should know how to do this. And I have plenty of support. They're all sending me links and books and this and that. They're like, do it, do it, do it. So now it's like, I've got this channel and 2 videos a week I need to still do. Golf is right around the corner. I want a wood shop. I want to finish that frame building. I want to go camping. I want to, fiction, Jillian or Jilly. Yes. It's actually, I think, going to be, the original idea was for a middle grade book, like think, like if George Orwell wrote The Goonies. That's the idea, kind of, but not dystopian. I don't know, and I just can't shake it. And yes, it's a lot about bicycles. Bicycles are in it. Um, it's a kids on bike story, kind of. Um, so Lake Mills does have a hold on me because my youngest is 16, so she's got a couple years left. I would never, in a million years, think about uprooting my children for my own personal gain. It just doesn't. That's why Maggie and I lived an hour apart for so long. It's like to like uproot our children so we could live together, like just never even. It's like, no, it's all about the kids. So and the other thing is like, for those of you that have seen it, you totally understand my place is freaking awesome and it's perfect for me. um you know yeah. So anyway, I got all these little projects that I want to do with all my time, and without having the bike shop creating the absolute necessity to process bikes in my life, it makes I still enjoy making the bike videos, right? But it's like something I've got to do. It's starting to feel like a job, I guess. You know, which is fine because I enjoy it. I enjoy the work, so I just have to remind myself. But I'm shifting everything around too. So like having all that space out in that garage means I can empty out that room, move everything into the shop here, and then that room can become an exercise room because that's what we really want. Um, yeah, all of that's happening. I just can't do it all. The Tao that can be spoken is not the eternal Tao. Um, that concept, that exact quote, is that the very first line of the Tao Te Ching? Did I just pull that off the top of my head? You tell me in the comments because I'm not going to look it up. But wouldn't that be something? Um, but yeah, the falling asleep to Alan Watts, and that came up the other day. No, what's his name gave me the book, the Alan Watts book at the Chicago Bike Swap. I can't remember your name now. Anyway, I can't remember all the names. Sorry. And I was reading that book, and he talks about it in the book. That's why that's fresh on my mind. Yes, I nailed it. I used to back in high school. I had an Eddie Bauer barn jacket that I wore in the winter, khaki one. How boring is that? And I would keep a tiny pocket Tao Te Ching in the inside pocket of that coat. I feel like I am slipping back into that OG Andy Q from high school where he like wrote poetry and read the Tao Te Ching for fun at the coffee shop before he went to college and, got sucked into it. Now I'm like spit out on the back end and I'm just like, it's like being reborn. I just feel like the second renaissance is around the corner, probably in 25 years, but I'm going to be ready for it. I'm going to live it. And my stepdaughter is doing a semester in Florence, Italy, and we're going to visit. And that's where the Renaissance started. So I'm really looking forward to getting a tour and really learning deep dive on the original Renaissance and what led to it. There's some classic BikeFarmer bullshit right there, huh? What worked out for Neil Peart? Being Canadian? I have checked out the Black Mountain Cycles. So when I was in California, I almost stopped by because I was in Santa Rosa and I thought about tracking them down and visiting. But I was like using public transportation and was stuck on a schedule. Yeah, I don't know if somebody said memoirs. I don't have any interest in writing memoirs. I think these videos and the Instead of Working channel could serve as memoirs. Yeah, the Trump gifting shoes to Marco Rubio, and they're 2 sizes too big, but he wears them anyway so he doesn't upset Trump. Yeah, everybody see this story? Was it yesterday? Where they got like photos of Marco Rubio wearing these huge $130 Florsheim. I'm like, holy shit. Because, in 2016, when Trump won that election, which he didn't, but he did. There's no way that was a legitimate election. I just can't. I still don't believe it. Something, the Russian influence was real, collusion or not. It was real and never should have happened. But anyway, the fact that it was that close still really got me wondering, like, how did like my parents all of a sudden like why were they defending a guy who was like bragging about sexual assault? That's always been the question to me, is like, what happens? Psychologically, what happens? And I'm like, well, I think it's a cult. right? You have a leader and they can't not follow him because they're too invested in this ideology. So I did all this research into cults. And when I see Marco Rubio, I mean, Marco Rubio is like the perfect example. He looks like every single, super sycophantic follower in every single cult documentary. There's that one follower that's always in a position of power, but never really has access to any power and just bows down. And those shoes, I'm just like, whoa. I mean, man, the level of cognitive dissonance to have that be your life. Think about that poor man. Oh, what a great comment. Um, Man, yes, he's just swimming in them. Um, so that's interesting. Somebody's asking about consultation. I thought about putting that on my website because I enjoy meeting with people, but I also value my time. And I know that like Russ does a thing. He's got it on his. It's like $90 for an hour consultation or something like that, which I think is fair. Um, yeah, maybe I'll do that. Um, yeah, I would do that. Um, Yeah, send me a message through the website, bikefarmer.com. There's a way to contact me there if that sounds fair to you, but we can figure something out. Rubio reminds me of Theon Greyjoy post castration. Yeah, I mean, right? Like, do thy bidding. Um, yeah, it's crazy. Ugh. And then there's a few, that have escaped. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene has escaped. I still think, I mean, I don't trust her. But she's seems to be far more coherent these days, although she is still, doing like that um sensationalist tweeting. I don't know what you call that. Kind of rage baity stuff that I'd never get into. And then, people are saying too, like, you're hearing all this oh, what's her name? Who jumped ship? She was like Charlie Kirk's friend. Um, and then Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan. There's a bunch of them that the mainstream media and like whatever you want to call it. And I just think it's dumb because they're like Joe Rogan did a complete 180, and that Candace Owens is the other one. About how they've totally turned on Trump or whatever, and like come to see the light. Like all three of them, I don't think have changed a bit. The only thing they've changed on is their opinion of Trump or whatever, and like they're not like supportive of him or sycophantic anymore. But like they're still out there, have their own little. What I always have a problem with is that they are like Tucker, Candace Owens, and Joe Rogan are all part of this like alternative media, independent media, and they like um I just don't think they have any journalistic integrity. I don't think they really are. Just because they're oppositional and contrarian doesn't mean that they're telling the truth. Like their whole thing is just to be contrarian and oppositional, and then they're like, I have evidence that what I'm saying, or I'm showing you how they're wrong or something, and like, no, it's really like this, and I'm telling you the truth because somehow they're more incentivized to lie than I am. And I think that's bullshit because they're just creating this brand of like alternative media that people are also subscribed to. Like they're like, oh, the mainstream media can't be trusted because of whatever reasons they're convinced themselves that that's true. um yeah, so yeah, I mean that's a real probably. I think that the Jeff just made a comment about Marjorie being rich now, so she can escape and she can do whatever she wants. There's truth to that. I think it's a yes and, like, that is true, and all of the other things are true. Yeah, we were talking about bikes before. James Bond killer. No, James Bond Kleiner. Different subject. Did the orange one pee his pants? Did he pee his pants? I don't know how we'd know. Doesn't he wear diapers? I think that's kind of commonly known too. I mean, he's old. A lot of old people wear diapers. 90s, 1980 steel mountain bikes. My Peugeot was stolen, and I finally found a similar replacements on Craigslist, and the person agreed to deliver it. It's coated with lots of rust. I don't know. Sounds like a bad situation. People like that only change when it affects their business. I don't think everybody's that motivated by business or money. I've never bought that either. Some people are, but I mean, I'm not. Like, I found that was funny. Yesterday, I went to get gas at Costco, and it was just packed. And I mean, just packed, middle of the afternoon on a Thursday. Not a hot Costco time at all. And it's just because gas prices are up. I don't know how much, and it's like, that's something that I've never even noticed. I just get gas when I need it. Like, what am I going to do about it? So, as far as rusty bikes, we can talk about this. I have yet to play with it, but Velo Orange, since they've been so good to me lately, they just send me stuff and they like are into it, which is amazing. Great brand to have on my side. They sent me this stuff. Speaking of James Bond, Goldfinger, silver and gold, sovereign gold. So this stuff, I'm gonna make videos on it. I have to play with it and figure it out. But if you've got an old, busaged, patinaed, rusty bike, I think you can clean up the rust spots and then take this stuff and squirt it on there and rub it in and wipe it off, and it sticks to the rusty parts and makes them shiny and creates this cool effect. So it's kind of like relicking, but instead of doing the relic on purpose, you're taking the relicking that's there and making it flashier or something. What's his name? Igor from Velo Orange did a video on it, and I saw it. Oh, dropped a gold finger. And oh man, Vigorous Gypsy of the Unusual is really upset about the rust stuff. Look at that. 4 huge exclamation points about how lazy everybody's gotten because rust can be removed. I think rust can be leaned into and made beautiful. So there, 5 exclamation points back at you. Hello from hello German. Hello German. Oh, a Shinola Waterford. Is Waterford really any better than other steel frames? I mean, probably. So Waterford would do batch manufacturing for brands like Shinola. I'd be really interested in knowing more about that bike and seeing it, because I'm a huge Waterford fan. I think my TIG welded Waterford S33 frame custom is one of the finest built bicycles I have ever seen. It is a custom production bicycle and made with really high-end tubing. And the TIG welds are perfect, and it was really smart and well designed. There's only one thing I would change on it. Oh yeah, American in German knee. I knew that. So I do think that when you have one of those production Waterford frames, you're getting something that was definitely made by a human, not by a robot. They're all the same. They're production made by production welders, but it's like the good way, made the good way, the right way. Still plenty of love and good grit craftsmanship in that bike. So I love it. Is it actually any like physically better? Probably a little bit, but negligible. But is it better in the essence of the Renaissance? You bet your sweet bippy it is. What's with the oh wow? Did I just answer your question or something? Oh, I see. You're back on the rust. Bike farmer. That's what we need to do. We need to ask AI to write a song that sounds exactly like the Goldfinger theme, only it says Bike Farmer. And I can write new lyrics for it. 61 aluminum frames. I don't know too much about aluminum tubing, but yes, absolutely they hold up, especially if they're stored indoors. Now, I think I believe, and have found and experienced over my life, and just inherently know from being alive and the way things are and noticing things, that if aluminum bikes are left outside in the winter in Wisconsin, where you get freeze thaw, freeze thaw, freeze thaw, I believe that it fatigues the metal and it did sound more like Moon River. Not really glitched. But that would be more like visiting the proctologist. Bike farmer from Fletch. Wouldn't it be funny if we asked AI to say bike farmer like Chevy Chase singing Moon River when he's getting a rectal examination in Fletch? Let's think of more things to ask AI. Anybody else think that's the dumbest thing ever? I asked AI, blah, blah, blah. I subbed in the bowling league here in Lake Mills yesterday. I was like the only guy in there without a Bush Light t-shirt on. And the team next to us, like, they thought it was the funniest joke ever. They were saying some stuff about AI. They're just like about how AI is smarter than this guy, or he thinks he's smarter than AI, or whatever. It's very blue collar, working class bowling alley stuff. Really funny how it's just. Father-in-law yesterday was texting the group text about some AI thing. About how one of the defense officials really believed that Anthropic Claude was sentient, which I don't think is actually true. I think it was a bullshit thing that he found. But just how it was interesting to see how he's relating to AI these days, how he's making sense of it. And then the stepdaughter that's in Italy right now, she's like, a lot of my peers refer to AI as she, and they ask her to order them food and just use it for their lives to read their homework to themselves. Everybody's got their own way of using AI or relating to it. Redefining sentience. Well, if you Google AI psychosis, that's what happens when you start, getting into this loop, and you do think that it's like this real thing. and or it's human, and you have people generate real relationships that are meaningful, and it can convince you of things, and it's called, you know, I ask AI questions that I'm too embarrassed to ask a real person. That's fantastic. I just think of the possibilities if it's used the right way, if we are able to like really figure out, what's healthy and positive, pro-social, aligned with humanity kind of way to use it. It's just like, man, it's just going to make everything so much better. Can't find anything wrong with you, Mr. Baba. Mr. Babar, like the elephant. uh, I'm not. I'm not following completely. Bike Farmer, do you think a Trek FX Sport 3 AL would be overkill upgrade from a Verve 2? I tried one yesterday and loved it. Um, okay, so it's not an upgrade. Um, I don't think. I think that the FX series bikes and the Verve are two totally different bikes. The Verve is like a comfort hybrid, tooling around town, feel the wind on your cheeks. And the FX series bike is more of a fitness hybrid. It's more aggressive, sporty kind of thing. So I would put them in two different categories. So I would say keep both bikes, and when you want to go slow and enjoy yourself, um, ride the Verve. You know, go ride around town. I don't know what you do with that bike. And then when you want to get out on the bike path and get some exercise, take the FX. Suit up, put the headphones in, be out for a couple hours. That's my answer there. Just a change in class of bike. Yeah, that's my take. But then again, I don't really stay current on all the names of everything. Maybe they changed it this model year. I don't know. But from what I know about the Burbs and the FXs, to me they're all the same, right? Like you can get the different levels, and theoretically you're upgrading. And in some cases it's worth it. In some cases it's not. A lot of it's marketing. But the Verve and the FX are like the same general level of bike. They're entry level. This is how you get into it. Anything above that, it gets way more technical, but too technical in my opinion. So yeah, somebody's asking about the Gibbs surplus going on sale. I don't know. So that's another thing I gotta do, right? Like I'd much rather be writing my book or working on the wood shop or metals or whatever than posting everything to the website, right? The busy work I don't want to do. I should just have one of my kids do it. That's the thing is like, I should set all that up and just have it be printing money while I'm doing all the other bullshit. But taking the time to do that, I don't know. I've just really been finding other busy work to do to to fuel this big philosophy that I have myself convinced of instead of doing the practical things that actually make me money. When people do things, okay, I'm going to pick on you, Lou Milvalak, Lou. The comment here or the post or whatever you call this is Trek Checkpoint versus Specialized Diverge 4. Now, are you asking a question? Seriously, what? Don't make us do all the work for you. You come across that lazy, why would anybody go out of their way to help you? I have a whole video on my thoughts about electric bikes. Speaking of being lazy, search for it. There, you got 20 minutes, you watch my video. I could say the whole thing clear as day. Hasn't really changed much. I think the bikes have gotten a little better. Probably the shitty ones are a little bit better, but hate working on them. Love riding them. So in the instead of working channel, I think the video that I want to make is I'm right now I'm going to just talk to the camera and explain the whole thing. And, I got a bunch of notes, and I'm done with the 52-week experiment idea. It fell flat. It's just not sticky anymore. I think I have my mind made up, and I'm going to go back kind of to the original idea that the Instead of Working channel is just the channel of Andy Q. And I do want to try making some woodworking videos, although they won't look like woodworking videos, the ones that I'm watching, because those are all like how to / watch me work. And I'm watching them to pick up skills and learn the terminology and learn what's even possible. I think the style of video that I imagine I would do is I would get footage while I'm doing it, maybe a project, and then do voiceovers or something where I'm talking. I don't really know. I'm also thinking that if I'm starting right now on writing a book, I really am lucky because I have these resources of an author community that are my friends now. I can text them questions and they'll answer me and they're all excited for me. And that's like, I'm miles ahead of where most people would start this journey. And I'm always like, you guys should be making videos on how to write books. That's how you make money. And now I'm like, I might as well make the videos if they're not gonna, just take what I learned from them and package it my own way. So I'll probably I'll probably use playlists over there, and instead of working, like woodworking videos, book writing videos, and then just have the Instead of Working videos as just like generic. Yeah. 53 thumbs up now. And we only got like 150 people. I don't know. It's not much of a live stream today. We only got 3 minutes left. Let's vintage. So then somebody, Klein King is like vintage Kleins. I don't know. Is that an answer to a question? Maybe it is. Oh, hey, we got some money coming in. Look at that. Right out of nowhere. Your thoughts on upgrading an aluminum MTB frame with 130 millimeter dropouts, road bike hubs? Really? You've got an aluminum mountain bike frame with 130 millimeter dropouts? Must be an old one, like an old Cannondale or something. So yeah, I'm sorry to be an asshole and like question that you know what you're talking about. You probably absolutely do. And then yeah, I did that on a bike. So the Surly cross checks used to come with 132.5 millimeter dropout spacing because it just doesn't fucking matter, right? If you just have a millimeter on either side, then you could use any old wheel that you can get to fit. But yeah, definitely use road bike hubs. Just get a nice whatever. Even just the generic Shimano road bike hubs that come on like the value wheels from QBP would be great. But yeah, with aluminum, I think it's you don't want to really be cold setting that. We're only talking a couple millimeters on either side, 2.5, right? So it's not the end of the world if you cram one in there. You can get the bike will be rideable. It's not going to fail on you probably, but you should use the right size hub. And thank you at Kearney for the $15. I would definitely not make bamboo bikes. Love to see the cool jazz shows. I don't know what that means. 98 Mongoose Crossway to a 1x9 and installing some drop bars. Does this feel like polishing a turd? It's definitely polishing a turd and absolutely 100% worth it. It sounds like a fun project. Enjoy the journey and have fun. I hope it blows your freaking mind and becomes your favorite bike. There you go. I believe, and I've never really tried it or proven it, but I think that old hybrids like your Crossway 250 with drop bars and whatever make amazing commuter bikes. I like drop bars. I really do. And an amazing commuter bike that you could go randoneering on or bike touring or do anything with them. Fenders, big tires, like those old hybrids just are very versatile frames and a great platform to get into this. And thank you very much, Jilly, once again. But don't tell me what to do. You can eat tacos. Just kidding. I probably will now. Um, I feel like I have tacos. Um, so Vela Orange, send Andy a frame, please. I would love it. I love their chassis format. They have a new aluminum. Speaking of, taking an old hybrid and doing whatever. Look up the Velo Orange chassis. There are people that are turning them into upright. I would call them hybrids, right? It's a 700C platform, I believe, but maybe you can do a 650B with big fat tires. Just a very versatile all around monster cross, whatever, but aluminum. So it's lighter and it has all the bosses and everything for anything. Just a really cool platform. And it would be super, super fun to work with them on designing a bike and whatever that I could ride or build, and we could auction it off for a charity, or I don't know, something like that. So I'll see. Um, I The thing that was holding me back is I'm not digging the current color, so I'd want to wait for the next round, I think. But that's only if the bike would end up in my possession. But it is a cool blue color. I think I would want it blue with like silver lettering, and it's blue with like a different blue lettering, and I'm just not that into it. Do you have one, Bob? Do you have a chassis? I think they're amazing. Every day is Taco Tuesday. And I'm a Wien fan. Tuesday is pizza day. Is that how it goes? Or Tuesday is pizza night? Tuesday is pizza day. I don't know what I'm going to do today. It's 11. I could be done with the live stream. And I do have acoustic paneling for the gray wall right here. It's going to be walnut colored vertical slats on that wall. And I ordered it. I paid for it. It should be at Menards. It was supposed to be there yesterday. I haven't gotten the text or the email. But if that comes, that would be a great project for today. That's what I mean. Like, I should be doing all of the other things, but that's what I'm going to end up doing. I got to get all this stuff done before we go to Italy and before golf season starts. Because once golf season starts, I know what I'm doing in the afternoon. I know. One more question. Dark Star Orchestra is playing in Milwaukee tonight. I got a bunch of friends that are going to be there. If I go, I'd probably end up sitting alone. Maybe I could find a friend to meet me or come with. Should I go? $20? Oh, I lost $20 out my window the other day near Jefferson. Hitchhiking, huh? That's incredible. Definitely go. Everybody says definitely go. All right, I'm going to work on that because Maggie is going to be out and about doing her thing tonight. And yeah, there will be friends there. I know, but like, I won't be able to sit with them. They're all like, but I don't know. I mean, I could use Jilly's taco money and go see Dark Star Orchestra. I love Grateful Dead and then Grateful Dead cover bands, and Dark Star Orchestra is probably my favorite. Although we discovered Terrapin Flyer, they're out of Chicago, and they've got such a mellow sound. We just had a blast seeing them last summer. So I don't need a full sentence. You can get away with not having full sentence. I mean, I can barely get a sentence out of my mouth myself. It's just like, question marks or, tell us what you want, be assertive, assert yourself. Show us who you really are and what you really want, and allow us in and be with us, be present with us in this journey through life. And absolutely not going to Bikerama. I think it's hilarious that the weather sucks as bad as it does. It's always so funny to me. I was there for the very first Bikerama, well, very first Roger Charlie Bikerama. So, Biker, for those of you that don't know, Bikerama is in Madison this weekend every year in March, and the weather is either good or it's bad. It can be either the most hopeful, beautiful spring is coming day, or snow like hell, which is going to always, people are freaking out about the weather this weekend. And it totally determines whether or not Bikerama is going to be a success. And it's my old boss at Budget Bicycle Center, Machinery Row, and Motorless Motion. And he's got these 3 huge bike shops. He's like the guy with the independent bike dealer in town. And he gets semis from Trek, and he fills them full of, he takes all his shops and empties them into semis, moves them out to the big convention center, and unloads all his bikes and discounts everything 10 to 15%, and then tries to sell, thousands of bikes in one weekend before all of the other shops even have their inventory out, and get ahead of everybody else, right? And I mean, he has $1 million weekends sometimes. It's insane. And it used to be a lot of fun, like in the early days when we were just setting it up. I mean, it was just a party the whole time. We go out drinking at night and work super long hours. People would get like 20 hours of overtime that week. And it was just a lot of fun. And but over time, it's turned into this whole thing. And it's just like, come on, it's kind of eye rolly. But yeah. So, no, I don't ever get excited about Bikerama, mostly because it's just all, like, it's a lot of closeouts, last year's models, or brand new bikes and the newest, latest, and greatest. And it's very corporate and retail-y and not my jam. So, no, I should get down for a Chicago Critical Mass. There was a guy who maybe is in here. He's a fan. He was in that video from Minneapolis, who told me to come down and check it out. And it's once a month. And then I could visit my friends at, bikes at Working Bikes, and do I got to do a Chicago video soon. So yeah, lots of ideas. I want to go to, I got a hover air drone I got to use. I want to go down to Bentonville, maybe next month, in like 3 weeks or something. I'll do that. All right, guys, I got to go. I'm going to get on with my life, on with my day. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next time. Bye. Exit. I don't ever know how to do this.